Right, hello everyone. We're back in our kind of usual spot on a pretty dreich day in Glasgow. It's not pleasant. Stevie, did you get soaked earlier?
I did, but I came prepared. It was a return of the body warmer and the Ange jacket as well. So I was fine. I can't say the same for everyone else round about me though.
You're like a walking Celtic store mannequin at the moment, and just any time. You've even got the joggies and all that on as well. I get soaked earlier, not that anyone cares. Thankfully, I've had 3 points to cheer me up and dry me out a little bit. Performance, not great. I get the sense we're going to have plenty to kind of touch on from today's performance that, as I say, wasn't great, but I guess the main thing is that we found a way to win, and it seemed like a big win as well given the reactions at full time.
Yeah, it was, especially going down to 10 men, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. But it was all about the 3 points first and foremost. I mean, 2 weeks ago it was the worst way to get into that international break. You come back for an international break and there's like a lack of cohesion, isn't there? The players have to find their rhythm again after we built up a lot of momentum, and then we ended it, the first spell, in the worst possible way, man. But, I mean, I guess it was all about the 3 points. I did want a statement performance as well, though. We didn't get that today, but at least we did hold out. But I've certainly seen better off this Celtic team.
I mean, to be fair, it's unlike them. We've got used to seeing them turning up and beating teams, 5, 6, 7. Even early this season, when we've only won by a couple of goals, we've performed really well in these matches. Today, the performance just wasn't there, kind of from the start. Do we kind of give them that one, given that it was the first game back after the break? And, Motherwell have done all right so far this season.
Well, I remember I did watch Motherwell before the break against Hearts, and they lost 3-0, but it was never a 3-0 game.
Why the hell were you watching Motherwell
I watch
Hearts?
Scottish football. What I'm trying to say is, right...
Is that even in telly?
It wasn't telly, aye.
Right.
It wasn't TV.
Weird.
And I watched Sports Scene as well. Can I just continue? What I'm trying to say is I didn't think coming into this game it was going to be a real walk in the park today, and it turns out it wasn't. But no, I think when you look last season, remember we came back from that international break, we went to Fir Park and we were excellent. We were really good, controlled that entire game. Can't really say we did the same today. I think Motherwell definitely have improved, certainly for what I saw today over last season. But it was all about us, and when you get into a game like that as well, tricky coming off of the amount of criticism the team got, deservedly so. I mean, if it was a lot of the... Ange would have probably wanted the team to play the same way no matter what, and at the end of the day, I don't want to keep busting out in the cliches saying it's ugly wins like that win a league, because it's a long way to go. But we did make it hard for ourselves at large points in that game, because there was no cohesion in the team. A lot of the team in general were just breaking down wee early, and we were doing the simple things totally wrong with us. We were just making it far more difficult for ourselves, and that's, I mean, Motherwell will get back into the game for our own mistake rather than them being excellent or putting us under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we kind of, even just from the start, the performance wasn't great, but we actually did have chances. I mean, Jota has a great chance after a couple of minutes. Maida runs in on the right hand side, crosses it, and Jota should probably score, and Kelly ends up, making a routine save. Watching the game, I don't know if you noticed this, Motherwell were at the dirty tricks from the first minute. Liam Kelly, after, I think we had several chances, or not chances, but shots that went away for goal kicks, and after every single one of them, Liam Kelly, while the ball's sitting on his goal line ready to be taken, he's walking out 10 yards, he's gesturing to all his defenders, come on, you need to wisen up here, when in reality what he's doing is delaying the game, and they were at that from the first minute, and I felt that John Beaton let them away with that. We then kind of get our goal pretty early on. I don't know exactly how many minutes, but was it about 10 minutes or so? Kyogo steals it from Matt O'Reilly. I noticed Matt O'Reilly giving Kyogo a wee tap in the head afterwards, but I wouldn't even say we'd done a great deal to deserve the lead at that stage, but I guess just when you've got kind of quality like that, I think the cross gets put across, and obviously header comes off the bar, and Kyogo taps it in.
It was Liam Kelly. I was right at him. He made the save. I think Matt O'Reilly, certainly, I mean, when he headed it, I think it was coming back right out towards Kyogo anyway. I mean, as a natural striker's finish in it, he's going to have to be the one to put that away. I would agree that in the first sort of 15-20 minutes, I didn't think we were that great. I mean, after the goal, we looked a lot more in control, and we looked a lot more assured, and I was expecting maybe a second or a third quickfire couple before half time would have been good, especially having one eye getting into a really big game on Wednesday. Wasn't the case, but no, I would agree with you that certainly we didn't come right out of the traps or anything, but we were well worth the lead at that point in the game, because Motherwell did nothing anyway, and don't get me started, as I say, on them wasting time for like 2 minutes and all that, and taking ages for a throw in and stuff. I think after seeing St Mirren last week, a lot of sides are going to be doing that now against Celtic. It's up to us to adapt and just overcome that, but they are really going to try and slow it down, and it was evident after the first goal kick today, William Kelly doing that, and a referee like John Beaton's just going to let that go unpunished, and he did all game, but I'm not here to talk about refs.
Of course you're not, you never are. I felt after we got that goal that things changed quite a lot. I felt we actually probably had our best spell in the game. The stadium just seemed to be a bit of a calmer place. I don't know if you felt today that there was just, everyone was just a little bit on edge. I guess there's a few reasons for that. The fact that we'd lost our last match. Let's face it, the fact that we went into the game today not top of the league, which is a bit of a culture shock for us. And even stuff like, as daft as it will sound, like the weather, I think has an effect on people's opinions and their moods going into the game. I just felt as if there was a bit of nervousness, not helped by a cock-up at the back. Now, I know you're going to have your say in this in a second, but first of all, I just want to point out, we all know by now Stevie is Josip Juranovic's greatest fan. Is this the day when we get to see you criticise a Juranovic performance?
Criticise him this season, Hamish, because I don't think he's hit the heights of what he has last season with his performances.
Yeah, I'm going to turn you up. Keep talking though, take it away.
Okay, thanks. Well, in my opinion, I think both players were obviously to blame for that, and it was a lack of communication first and foremost. We saw it leading up to that goal, certainly in midfield, slack passes everywhere. A lot of the ball and a lot of the play was behind some of our players. Just wee things like that were leading up to that goal. But when that ball comes in, I'm expecting Joe Hart to be aggressive and dominate that, because that's his area, that's his domain.
Yeah. Have you seen it again? Or was
no, I haven't. That was my first, watching right in line with it, to be fair. And I didn't hear anything though. Didn't hear any shouts. Didn't hear any screams. Very rarely do you hear that individually from players at Celtic Park as well, due to the noise round about you. But I did not hear Joe Hart.
It's two vocal players. I mean, Hart and Juranovic are two of the loudest players.
In my opinion, a goalkeeper, when a ball's like that, by default, it's always got to be a goalkeeper. Yeah. To dingy any shouts and just claim that ball. Because it was, there's not even any Motherwell player around about as well to put pressure on. Really poor, and I get the feel now from that type of small wee error getting into a massive game like in Wednesday too. Well, making mistakes like that, like we saw against St Mirren, we'll make mistakes like we saw today against Motherwell, and even after that, like a couple of the slack passes at the back, certainly for Stephen Welsh. I really dread the game on Wednesday. I really do, and we've got to cut that out. Yeah,
we'll come on to that at the end, because I think there's some interesting team selection stuff to chat about. We did win the game. We got the victory today. The winning goal comes from Real Hateate, and it's just a thing of beauty. I know you want to say a bit about Hateate. You've come to some conclusions today, is that right?
Yeah, I think, what a screamer. It was.
Yeah, it's a genuinely
cliche again.
Arrowed away from
goal fit to win any game, all that nonsense. But it really was some strike. And I think with Hateate, I've accepted that around about me, when Hateate will try some of his Hollywood passes and they don't come off. There was one we saw in the second half at 2-1. He could have just slipped in a bada, but he tried to launch it to the back post. I think Liam Kelly claimed it. Yeah. Hatate's always going to be a player where he will lose possession. There'll be some lapses in concentration, but I think his presence and him being on that park is far more vital and more positive for us than any small wee negative parts of his play.
Yeah. He had one pass in the first half, left foot over to Jota on the left wing, and it was just... I love watching him. Today wasn't his best game, but I love watching him.
I think the 5 minutes or so that I did get a signal at Celtic Park, I looked and it was you, and you just said Real Hateate, man, and it must have been after that pass.
5G, everyone, 5G.
That'll be me soon.
Yeah.
Can't wait to bother you. No, but I mean, with Hateate, what you get is you get so much energy, and the pressing that he brings to that Celtic, it's the midfield as well. But a far better team with Real Hateate, and I was delighted that he didn't get hauled off at 60 minutes. Now, a lot of that is down to the fact that we couldn't afford to do that, because it was such a tense game, Hamish, and we needed the 3 points.
Yeah.
But Real Hateate getting the majority of that game is just so vital for us, and it's not just a case of a lot of people saying he's tires after 60 minutes. With Hateate now, he can last, he's got the legs for it, and he was a crucial player for us today.
Yeah, I mean, he won the club's man of the match. I would probably tend to agree with that, given that he scored the goal that won us the game. It was just a brilliant strike, and it came at a stage when we hadn't really created a great amount of clear-cut opportunities, and it was just a fantastic strike. What is he, 25-30 yards out, as I say, it kind of curved into the net and outside to in, and I felt like that's what we needed today. Maybe if he hadn't scored that, we would have found a way to win the game late on, but I just got the impression today that we needed that bit of brilliance or a bit of luck to get us there, and thankfully it was a bit of brilliance.
Aye, and it was just a real moment of genius for Hateate, because you didn't actually see us scoring from any other way up until that, because we weren't creating a lot of chances. I think maybe Kyogo, I think he had a header over the bar.
Hateate hit the crossbar in the first half. Uranovic
with a free kick as
crossbar.
well. But we weren't,
They were all long distance. We didn't carve Motherwell open.
Exactly.
At
We
any
didn't cut
stage.
Motherwell apart at any point.
Yeah.
There wasn't a point where any time we're going forward, you're thinking, oh, this is a goal, we're looking really threatening. We were very laboured at times, especially in the second half. It was almost as if we were worrying too much as well with what Motherwell would do, and the crowd didn't help as well. A lot of the crowd were a wee bit sort of on edge, but you could see that as well. Getting into the game, the pressure was on us. Obviously, it was a must-win game as well. But no, I mean, there was just some goal. I want to see more of that for Hateate as well. He's capable. We saw it against Rangers last season. We saw it against Hearts as well. He's capable of hitting digs like that, and I want to see more of it too. Because that team this season, up until the St Mirren game, hitting digs for long range, like we saw with Jota twice as well, Kyogo too. So they've got it in them. They can score for long range, and I want to see more of it, because, I mean, ideally, a lot of teams aren't going to be able to stop that when players have got space and they've got the accuracy to hit it at the ball in the net like that. It was some goal.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, I'm already kind of imagining the comments coming in from today's video, and I think there's going to be a lot of people, a little bit concerned about Wednesday night. We're going up against Leipzig. If we play like we did today, we're not going to get a result at all against Leipzig. I think that's fair. I personally, and people will be looking at the fact it's a couple of games now, and is there a little bit of a malaise going on? Have Celtic dropped their standards? I personally don't feel it's anything near as severe as that. I just think St Mirren was an off game, and today we won the game. 3 points today. I always think first game back after international break, they're always tricky games. You rarely see Celtic demolishing a team. I'm going to move in ever so slightly. Do you want to do the same, because it's
okay,
it's tipping it down a fair bit here.
Let's be professional and carry on. A bit like Celtic. No, I think football, I mean, it's nothing long-term concerning of that. I didn't come out of that going, by the way. I was like annoyed, because I wanted to see us, put on a real show again, especially after all the criticism they had. But no, it wasn't to be in that case. But then football goes in cycles too. Look at look at our challengers across the road. Apparently it was the worst stage ever for them. They had the break. They've won 4-0 today, and then all of a sudden that just changes. I think all we need is a good performance and a couple of good results again, and then it'll be a case of that's it. Celtic are back as well.
I mean, we could win on Wednesday night, and everyone's buzzing again. And you're looking at the overall picture, and you're thinking, God, you're top of the league, and you're looking good for the last 16. It would be at that stage. So yeah, I'm relatively calm. I just thought today we just didn't get going at all. You look around the team, and the man of the match was Hateate, and I think, as I say, it was deserving. But even his performance, there was a lot of slack stuff from him today. Back to front, if you're blaming Hart, Uranovic for the goal, I thought Jens and Welsh just didn't inspire confidence again. No. I thought both of them, especially probably Welsh, looked nervy at times.
Ponderous on the ball as well.
Left back, I actually thought, again, from seeing stuff on Twitter, this may be controversial. I thought Greg Taylor was okay today. I certainly didn't think he was, one of our worst players at all. Midfield, we should probably talk about McGregor at this stage, because for me, a brilliant moment. I love seeing Celtic players getting sent off and applauded off the park. It's just an amazing thing. I'm
trying to think the last type of red card we had like that was at Effie Ambrose against Hearts 2015, the 0-0 game, when they hold down, I don't know who it was actually.
0-0 game. Aye, sorry,
remember, yeah. And I remember the reception he got in the Ronnie Dyler season.
Drawing 0-0 against Hearts. Slightly different today, wasn't it? Because we had the lead, but he had to do it. He absolutely had to do it. The guy was in. It was. I mean, again, that's what I'm talking about. Hateate, it was incredibly slack, and that's the guy who was our best player in the day. So bits of performance, bits of play like that today just nearly cost us. Thankfully, we got away with it. But that Callum McGregor moment was that. I mean, for me, going all kind of Brexity here, that's a proper captain getting a red card. Late on to get us the 3 points, because as I say, if he hadn't have done it, the guy is in, and I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think there's maybe a 50-50 chance that Motherwell score and get a draw out of the game. We are going to be missing McGregor certainly for next week. You think it's 2 games?
I don't know, 2 games. Well,
okay.
I think maybe certainly for St Johnstone, but I thought maybe against Hibs as well. But we'll see. But no, it's the right thing to do. Listen, you could be missing 1 game, 2, or even 3. I don't care at that stage.
Certainly next Saturday, it's maybe not a bad thing. No, when you look at, maybe it gives Abelgard a chance to slot in. He's a big guy, by the way. big guy.
So you?
Yeah, same size.
I think, yes, I mean, I know that the cynicism in me maybe says, you know what, it's about time Callum McGregor actually had a couple of days
Well,
off
that's
as
what I'm
well.
saying. Like, it suits his plays Leipzig and gets a full week to recover for the following Leipzig. I mean, genuinely never want to see players sent off, because the thing that I was thinking was, I think it was 87 minutes in the clock at that stage. We still had 7-8 minutes to weather the storm with 10 men. We actually did all right with 10 men, but I mean, I just thought that was a really kind of important moment. He had to do it. There was no doubt in his mind at all. He didn't try and let the player further in and then maybe tackle. He just knew he was well off it. It wasn't his fault at all. It was Hatate's slack pass, and he just took the foul, took the red card. No complaints either. Got a standing ovation. I thought that was a proper big dog moment.
Yeah, I loved it. It reminded me a lot of like Solskjaer against Newcastle.
Yeah, that's the one that I thought of.
Remember that famous
It wasn't
clip?
quite as severe as that.
The 60-yard run and then just hacking down the guy. But no, yeah, at that moment in time, you have to do it. It was all about the 3 points, as I say, before getting into the game. And at that stage, it was critical that we ended that, getting into the Leipzig game with a win. Can you imagine the confidence levels and the morale if Motherwell got a draw out of that or something, getting into that game in Germany? It doesn't bear thinking about. And just quickly too, we played better. With 10 men, we were smarter in the ball. We were starting to slow the game down, and eventually we actually, instead of going 100 miles an hour like we usually do, we actually took our foot off the gas and frustrated Motherwell. And it was good, because I thought with 10 men, does this Ange team still continue to go and try and get a third, knowing the way we are? But no, we slowed it down and we were very sensible, and I was very, really happy with that.
Looking ahead to Wednesday, how are you feeling?
I mean,
remember, I'm going to be going, so don't spoil my holiday.
No, it's good. No, that's good that you're going.
Sorry, work. Obviously working.
It's good that you're going, and it's a bit of a break for you, I suppose.
Break for you.
Thanks. I'm not too confident now. I would have been so confident if guys like CCV and Starfelt were fit. Even
Vickers could be fit.
Hopefully, it's all about that. It's all about the team before the game. It's all about the news we get from the manager getting into that game. But with the defensive problems we've had now, with the errors that we've had at the back, very uncharacteristic as well in the last couple of games, you've got to say. You've got to remember last season, I mean, the defensive record with that team was excellent.
Carter Vickers will make a massive difference.
He will. It's all down to CCV being fit for me. If we go in with that, and I'm not here to put it into Stephen Welsh, I don't like doing that. And I'm glad, in the last sort of 10-15, Stephen Welsh grew into the game a wee bit, especially with the pelters he was getting for the crowd, and deservedly so, because some of the balls he was playing was like behind Maeda and behind Jota far too often. But yeah, getting into that game with Stephen Welsh at the back against a Red Bull Leipzig team who punish teams, and they play in the counter and they go all straight through the middle as well.
Yeah,
I do worry now, but we'll see. We'll see all this now, Hamish. An hour or so before the game, 3-0 Celtic.
Yeah, you remind me of a certain someone, but yes. I would agree. I think Carter Vickers is a big bit of injury news. I think he's you just take him for granted when he plays, and when he doesn't,
you feel it, don't you?
You feel it. So I'm never going to take you for granted ever again, Cameron. Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll have plenty of build up ahead of Wednesday. We're top of the league, Stevie. So
we are.
Yeah,
and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, there's other things that matter, but
I know. But coming away for that, down to 10 men. I just wanted the 3 points after a couple of weeks ago. Well, let's just say I have had better Sundays, Hamish, after that Paisley game, and it felt like ages to get it out of our system too.
Yeah, it did.
Hate getting into that international break and that type of performance, but no, we've won.
Well,
end of.
One game down, 12 to go before the World Cup. So yeah, let's keep going. We're going to say goodbye. Apologies, it looks kind of quite dark from where I'm stood. So hopefully you can just realise that it's been a horrendous day here in Glasgow. The positive news is that Celtic have won. We're back to the top of the Premiership. I'll chat to you tomorrow.